What's up, guys? Arnold Classic weekend is starting, and I, for one, am incredibly hyped about it. I am very excited for this competition. Even though it's only 9 people, I am very, very excited. If you've seen my predictions video, I think this one's going to be incredibly hard to predict. At least it is from like 3rd to 5th. I reckon it's going to be so hard to call. I think first place is going to be Mitch. And then second place, I've got my heart on Lucas, but not as certainly as I do Mitch in first. But you know that the rest of that podium and so on and so forth is going to be very difficult. But let's see who is in the chat. I can see that Andrew is saying that he won't be able to make the live stream because his brother-in-law's in hospital. So speedy recovery there. Hope all ends up well. But he's got his podium as Mitch, Lucas, Trey. Yeah, could totally see it. I think that is going to be one of the most likely outcomes. Then we've got Clet Nation saying hopefully he's covering well. Yeah, second that. Hopefully he is as well. And we've got Alex in the chat as well. But yeah, what do you guys think is going to go down today at the Arnolds? Obviously, it is day one, starting in a couple hours' time. Are we going to see any surprises, any upsets? Obviously, we've got the deadlift today and the dumbbell and the tombstone. So certainly, I think the dumbbell and the tombstone are going to throw some spanners into the works for a few people, especially with how that dumbbell setup is, where you go out and you've just got all the weights laid out in front of you and you try and do what you can. I feel like some people might take some risks and it might not pay off. Equally, some people might play it too safe. It's going to be very, very interesting. Grimdork Future saying, I'm out for some pre-Arnold's cardio. My heart says Martins for podium, I believe. You know what? I believe as well. He is looking in fantastic shape and there are some good events in there for him. So yeah, I think Martins could be on the podium for sure. I myself have just got in from my final training session for Oxfordshire's Strongest Man, which is next weekend. That's run by Paddy Haynes, and both me and my brother are competing in that. And yeah, final session today had behind the neck push press and sandbag carry for max distance. Both went decently well. The sandbag carry went really well, actually. I managed a 140 kilo Husafell bag for around about 70-80 metres with more in the tank. It felt really good. So I'm excited for that comp next weekend, but obviously we're here to talk about the Arnolds. Jane's in the chat saying, can't wait to see Lucas on the dumbbell. Me neither. I really, really want Lucas to mog everyone on the dumbbell for sure. Alex went to the Stark Centre last week, got to see one of the original Sear dumbbells. That's really cool. That is definitely a bucket list place that I want to head to at some point for sure. At the Stark Centre, I'm sure they've got I've seen a tour of it. They've got so much strength history, and I'm a real nerd for strength history, so I'd love to go and take a look at that at some point. But it does involve me leaving the Cotswolds, which doesn't happen too often, so we will see about that one. But this early on in the stream, I want to urge all of you, if you haven't already, go down below, like the stream, push it out. I'm sure there are plenty of other Strongman fans sitting around waiting for the Arnold to get kicked off. So let's get him in here, let's get him talking Strongman. And if you are new here, definitely get subscribed. We've got Disappointed Optimist commenting saying Martins absolutely looks like the most likely third place to me. Yeah, absolutely could see it for sure. I'm just not sure what his dumbbell's like at the minute, really. It didn't fill me with too much optimism. But, you know, everyone has got a bogey event, apart from maybe Mitch. Like, everyone has got one of the events in there that could ruin their podium chance. Like, there are some guys in there that you might not even be thinking about for podium that I keep forgetting that could be in there. We've got 9 of the absolute best guys ready to compete, and it's going to be, I think Mitch is going to win, but I think the rest of the comp is going to be super, super close. I think it's going to be so much fun. And I'm really hyped. I've got full 2 days off. Really, really excited just to go full strongman mode for a couple days and really enjoy it. Seeing Lucas at the Arnold's UK a few years ago mogging the dumbbell was special. Yeah, I really want to see a good old dumbbell mog. I love it when someone does just so well at an event compared to the rest of the field. It's always so much fun to see it. Again, it makes me upset that we're not seeing Mateusz on that Tombstone, but it is what it is. I have got with me today a Pepsi Max Cherry. It is rare that I am seen without a white monster or a rain for one of these live streams, but I have just trained, so I've got caffeine already coursing through my veins, so I need to get that to peter out a bit before I then get another caffeinated beverage before the Arnold starts. Broadshops in the chat, let's go, mate. I am so excited for this competition. First major of the year. Brits a couple of weeks ago was so much fun. Really enjoyed doing the live stream then. Thought I'd do it again for the Arnolds. I've got one scheduled tomorrow as well, because I love coming on here and waffling about Strongman. So, you know, no one else is going to listen to me talking about Strongman today, so you guys are all subject to it. So lucky you. Lucky you. And I saw that Paddy and Daisy did a live stream the other day, and that was really good fun. And I hope more of the people in Strongman do more live streams, because it's always good fun getting everyone together in a live stream chat, chatting away. Grimdork Future saying, Nick is looking great. My hot take is him beating Austin overall. I could totally see it, for sure. Like, Austin's got some really good events in the deadlift and the log press and the tombstone. But Nick, on his sandbag, on the dinny walk, I expect, on the dumbbell, you know, he could definitely pip Austin in the overall show, depending on which way those events fall. Alex saying, as a fellow Monster enjoyer, the Wicked Apple flavour is delightful. Is that an American exclusive one? I don't know that we have that one over here in the UK. We don't get the nice fun flavours that you guys in the US get, especially Rain's. Like, Rain in the UK is basically non-existent now, which is really upsetting. Sway Station was saying, what time does the women start at UK time? I believe at around 4. The live stream is on YouTube saying it's starting at 3:45 UK time, so I think at 4 is when it will kick off, and I think that includes the women's as well. Clet Nation saying, hope you're all well, trying to barrel through the workday till it's Arnold Classic time. I mean, technically, I am working right now. I've got my laptop here, working from home. Just don't tell my employer. No, I'm kidding. I'm on a flexi hours contract, so I've made sure that I've worked enough hours earlier in the week that I could take a couple hours off now to do this live stream. But technically, it's a work day for me still, working from home. So the laptop's here just in case anything happens and they need me. But you know, we're live streaming. We're talking about Strongman. Hello to any of my colleagues. If you end up in here, I promise I'm working. Jane's saying the women start at 4:05 and the men start at 5:30. So there you go, yeah. Bang on. And of course I will be watching both as much as I can for the whole comp. In the past I've had to skip parts of the women's stuff due to training, everything. This is the first time where training's done. I've got no plans from now until Sunday, so completely off. And can completely just watch Strongman and Strongwoman, which is awesome. I'm really excited. It's going to be a great weekend. It really is. I'm super hyped about it. And the women's comp's going to be really interesting as well. I think Inez is obviously the girl to beat here. But, you know, there is going to be a lot of fight going on for that podium. I can tell you that for sure. It's going to be a really exciting comp. I'm not too well versed on the women's side of things compared to like my expertise on the men's side of things. And I say expertise very loosely. My incredibly nerdy interest in the men's side. I follow the women's side less, but I still love watching as much as I can of their competitions, especially when it aligns with the men's as well. Bronchop saying, does the girlfriend watch too? No, she doesn't. She does when I force her to, which is not very often. But she's got other plans, so it means that I am fully alone to watch Strongman with no interruptions, which is an absolute win. Jane saying, Bryce made the duck walk look easy. It helps to be a giant. Yeah, that's what I said in my predictions video. I said I wouldn't be surprised if Bryce did really well at the duck walk just because he's got the long legs to be able to fit the stones in between his legs more comfortably than everyone else. So I'm not surprised he made it look easy in the familiarization. Clet Nation saying, not sure if you covered it / saw all the behind the scenes from Lucas and Liz, but it'll be interesting how the Tombstone plays out based on initial picks of the stone. Yeah, I watched both of those videos of the guys playing with it, and there's a lot of confidence going on, and I'm not sure if that's going to be helpful or hinder some of the guys, because I feel like we see this a lot of the time when we get the Tombstone in. Half the field are like ultra super confident that they'll be able to smash it just based on a little pick. And I think just by watching it in the past, you know, only 2 or 3 guys will manage it. Like, getting it to the lap is one thing. Getting it from the lap to the shoulder, whole nother ball game. And from what I can see, I don't think anyone tried to even lap it. They just did an initial pick off the floor, being like, oh yeah, I've got that. So it'll be interesting to see if that is potentially false confidence from some of the guys who haven't fully touched it before, fully tried to extend with it. Or whether it is warranted, and then going in with confidence is going to help them and boost them to be able to get a few reps on it. But I think it's going to be harder than a few of those guys expect, even though they managed to have their hands on it and figure out how to pick it up. I think it's going to be a bit unwieldy, but it's going to be an interesting one. It sounds like everyone's done their homework when it comes to the Tombstone. Like, I've heard lots of people say that they have watched the Mateusz video of him lifting it many times over and over just to figure out that technique. So it'll be interesting to see if all that practice comes to fruition and how many of the field actually managed to get it. And Clet's saying 100% their confidence is not zeroing it. Yeah, that is true, because I believe they do get a point for lapping it. So maybe that'll be useful. Avery's in the chat saying, listening at work, great insight, Toby. I hope work is going well. I am doing this at work, technically. I have not officially booked off this afternoon, but through the hours I've worked this week, I've been able to take it easy this afternoon. So you might be listening at work. I'm also technically streaming from work. Luckily, I work from home, so I can get away with it. But yeah. Oh, I'm excited. I am so excited. It's going to be a really fun one. Which event are you guys looking most forward to? Which one do you think is going to be the most exciting event? And I will tell you for now, originally when it was announced I wasn't, but I am now most looking forward to that sandbag upper ramp. I think it is going to be a very exciting finish, especially if it's close. It's going to be really cool. And did I make it up, or is it going to be head to head? I might have made that up. But either way, I think that's going to be a really, really exciting event. I think all the other events are kind of very like standard events, like deadlift, you kind of know what's going to happen. Dumbbell, I think we can see pretty reasonably what's going to happen. I think Tombstone's going to be really exciting. I think the Dinny into the drag is going to be weird. I think it's either going to end up being an absolute shit show disaster, or it's going to be really fun and exciting. I think the log is pretty predictable and should be good fun. And then I think the sandbags, again, is like, I think it's just going to be an exciting high octane end, to be honest. Alex is looking forward to the Tombstone, so am I. Bronshop's looking forward to the sandbag and the Dinny, solely as we have no idea how it'll go. Yeah, that's exactly the same as what I think. I think those two events are going to be the ones to watch, especially the Dinny's ones, because I'm so curious to see how they're going to get away with duck walking them and how that's going to be useful, and how, if it's going to be faster, if Mitch still goes for the farmer's walk strategy. Loads of stuff is going to be interesting. Trust Us Tonight saying Dinny Drag is going to be an absolute mess. I could absolutely see it as well. Good day all, good day my friend. I am looking forward to seeing you at the farm comp in a month's time. That is going to be fun. I am really, really excited for that one. Even though I just refreshed myself on the events that I've got to do for the Haynes Farm Open, and Paddy has put in a bloody log and axle for reps, like, you know, 1 rep log, 1 rep axle, 1 rep log, and the weights are like heavy for me anyway. They're 135 log, 145 axle, which that 145 axle is nowhere close for me. It's going to be a hell of a month training to try and prepare for that one, but the rest of the events look fun. I fucking hate an axle, guys. I hate axle so much. Alex saying there's a couple athletes I'm excited to see deadlift. Oh yeah, me too. I just think deadlift's quite predictable, but I always enjoy the elephant bar every year. We just see it a lot. Collect Nation saying, I think I also heard head-to-head we might see the most competitors lift the Austrian Oak. I completely agree that I think we will see the most lift the Oak. Lots of people have a good chance to get a good few reps. Bars Bags Balls saying they're going to put it live on YouTube. Yep, I believe the streams are already scheduled over on the Rogue Fitness channel, so you should be able to plan around when those are going to start. Charlie Hurst saying maybe duck walking the stone will be quicker than taking both at once. Might prove to be a mistake if Mitchell does it. I expect that Mitch will be going out last on that event, so he'll be able to see if it's quicker or not, and then make his decision based off that. So I think either way he'll be alright, but it'll be interesting to see for sure. The open weights are heavy as F. Yeah, they certainly are. But I'm not allowed to do anything but the opens anymore. I'm banned because I won the Inters in 2024. So I have to do opens from now on. That's how it works. So I've just got to deal with it. Alex saying, I don't enjoy it, but Axel is annoyingly my best overhead. It used to be my best, and then like my pressing strength became pretty good for what I consider. So the clean became the hard thing on the axle, and I just hate cleaning an axle. I really do. From a rack, like fine. Like I've got behind the neck push press at the minute, and it's flying. And my log's good because my log clean's decent, but axle's just awful. And I'm of the camp that we still do axle in strongman because it's strongman and a barbell isn't, whereas I think we should just do barbell. They're easier to clean. I know a few of the pros think that way as well. I just think axles are awful. But you know, we got to do what we got to do in this sport, don't we? I'll do novice since it's my debut comp. I feel like it might be too light, so I better hammer cardio. Yeah, I mean, novice is always good fun. And like, that's the thing is, you might think it's too light, but even in strongman, light is hard, isn't it? So you'll have some pretty fierce competition, I think, as well. Is the novice for the Haynes Farm Open on the Saturday? Because I believe he does it over 2 days now, so I'll be competing on the Sunday. And are you coming to both days, or are you just coming to the day that you're competing? I think I'm planning to come to both days, hopefully. I'd love to go to both. I only did the 1 day last year, and I missed out on the first day. So yeah, I'm going to try and come to both of the days at the farm comp this year. Just book that weekend off completely, and yeah, come to both, because it's always fun to hang out with strongman people and watch them strongman, isn't it? So we may as well go to both. It's always a good fun comp with some good fun events going on. Bronchop agreeing that cleaning an axle's never fun. Yeah, it's just grim. Like, and I just can't do it with elbow sleeves. I just don't have the flexibility in my arms when I've got sleeves on to be able to pop underneath. So I have to like forfeit some of my pressing power from wearing sleeves to be able to clean it, and it's just awful. My coach is competing today at the Arnold Strongman Classic. Who is your coach? Let us know and we'll get behind them. Yeah, it's on the Saturday, but I'm staying for both days as well as staying a few days extra. Awesome, yeah. I will try and make it down to both then, and I'll get to watch you compete on the Saturday, and you can watch me on the Sunday. That'll be good fun. Another implement at the Stark Centre is the homemade fix axle Mark Henry trained with for his first Arnold. Yeah, that's really cool. That implement, just being able to double overhand clean an axle like that's just crazy. All pressing is fun till you have to do it. You know what, actually, I will expand on that. All pressing is fun until you have to do it for max reps. Like, 1 or 2 reps, a heavy triple maybe, all good fun. When you're going head to head for a rep event pressing, it sucks arse. It just does. Nothing kills you off more. The Queen Inez, well, I feel like your coach might win the strongwoman then, because Inez is the heavy favourite. I think she is going to be hard to beat this weekend. She's looking in good shape. So that'll be a fun one to watch for sure. And I'm sure we'll all get behind Inez. For max reps is gross. It certainly is. And you know what's even more gross? Max reps with 2 different implements, going from a log to an axle, to a log, to an axle, to a log, to an axle. Having to change technique every single time, fully reset every single time. You get absolutely no flow state. It is possibly the most horrible overhead event that I've ever seen put on, is a log and axle into reps. Disgusting. Absolutely grim. I don't know why Paddy did it. It's because I complained that he put dumbbells in both of his comps last year, so he's taken them out and put an even worse pressing event in. I am a presser out. I enjoy pressing. Oh, I enjoy pressing when it's a heavy press or a max. I just hate axle. Axle for reps in a max time is just disgusting. I hate axle cleaning. I don't mind an axle clean and press away, but cleaning every rep of an axle is just grim. The fun way home, Zercher clean or zombie clean is the best way to do axle clean and press. Yeah, I'm sure it probably is, but it's very technical and it takes a lot of learning to do those sorts of things. And I've only got a month, which is like might be a lot of time, but in terms of actual like meaningful training sessions, it's best for me to stick with the technique that I know, which is just a classic continental clean. Brodchov saying we need a yoke into log, into axle, into log, into axle. That would be disgusting. The yoke would be fun. I love a yoke. But yeah, that sounds disgusting. Medleys like that are great, but setup for training is worse. Oh yeah, the setup for training's awful. Just having to set up loads of different stuff is always good fun in training. Like, it's the worst thing about strongman training is putting all the equipment outside and then bringing it all back in again at the end of the session when you're fried. Disgusting. Jonah's saying, Toby, hello mate, how's it going? I have no idea why, but a few local comps here in Norway also have that log and axle combo. Yeah, I've seen it a few times in competition. I don't know why. Just like pick one of them. We don't have to have both. Pick one or the other. An axle's fine. A log is fine. We don't need both at the same time. We really don't. No, I don't mind it. I love watching events like that, but doing them is something different. It's like, yeah, there are so many events that I love watching, but I would absolutely hate to do. Like, what's a really good example of that? Oh, let me think. Any like max effort cardio-ish event, like a lung buster loading medley or an arm over arm. Great fun to watch. Suck to do. At Ronnie Coleman Classic, I got a 160 log. Only one in my weight class to get it up. Heavyweight running. Oh, that's awesome. I'm assuming that's, yeah, decent. Very solid. Avery saying, what's your max bench? My max bench is 165 kilos, and I really don't test it very often. I set that shortly after this time last year, maybe in about April, when I just did a random bench PR after a comp, and I haven't pushed it beyond that since. So yeah, that is my max bench. I don't really test it very often. We need personal pit crews. We certainly do, especially for like as I train alone in a home gym. It's all on me to set up everything, put it all away. Like, it's good when you've got loads of training partners and you all pitch in and help do it, but when it's just me, it's not great. It's not fun. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited or / interested are you for the enhanced games that Thor and Mitch competed in? I think, excited-wise, a 4. Like, I love Strongman. I don't really love like a one-off deadlift event. You know, interested, 8. I'm always interested, like 8 or 9. I'm always interested in strength feats, in deadlifting, in strongman, in any things. But like excited-wise, I prefer a full competition. So I think it would be cool that they're doing a deadlift 1v1. But I'm not like super excited to watch it. I'll watch it if I can, by any means. But it's not like I'm not like sitting here going, oh, that's going to be really good fun, because it might be, but I prefer full competitions. Pounds here, lazy American. Yeah, fair enough. I gathered it was pounds, and I'm fairly decent at working out pounds to kilos, but kilos are definitely the better one. Come on, like kilos is just way better, and I'll die on that hill. Bronshot, strange how little Arnold's videos there are, almost as if they want the sport to die. Hopefully Hooper doesn't throw any implements at Arnold this year. Yeah, true that. And it is a shame, like, I feel like Strongman YouTube's in a really weird place right now where we've got guys making content and we've got guys putting videos out, but it's just like, it's either just training or like just the odd behind the scenes thing. It's not like it used to be where people were doing a mix of things. And I feel like the general interest is kind of down in strongman YouTube at the minute as well, which is a shame. But I feel like the guys need to get a good balance of good training session videos plus good like sit down talk commentary type videos where, you know, gets people invested, gets people interested, and then obviously it comps the behind the scenes vlog style stuff. And a few of the guys have a good balance down on that. Like Lucas has a fantastic balance on his channel and makes really good videos. And I wish a lot more of the guys followed in those sort of footsteps, because that's the sort of stuff I like to watch. Metric system makes way more sense indeed. Absolutely does. 100% make way more sense. I feel like Martins will either finish top 3 or absolute dead last. I don't know which one though. I think he'll be top 3. I think he's in very good shape. I think the only thing that will stop Martins in this competition from doing very well is his body. If he gets an injury or has to pull out or mistimed his peak or something, then he could end up in that dead last. But I think in his current shape, looking at it, he's got a very good chance for maybe not like top 3, but definitely top 5 in my opinion. Ron Shop saying it used to be hours of content daily leading up to shows. It absolutely did. And I miss it. I really do. Like, I enjoy what we've got at the minute, but we could have way more. And I'm hoping that when Worlds rolls around, we'll get a lot more, because there's obviously a lot more athletes going. But still, like, we've got nine guys competing at the Arnolds, and at least half of them have like YouTube channels and make content. So we should be expecting like 5 or 6 videos a day, but so far we've only got like 1 or 2. Sandbag tossing is a weak spot for me. Inez is helping me with my explosive skills. I hate tossing. I am useless at it. And I really don't like it as an event. So it's a weak spot for me as well. Hatton and Paddy are killing it. Mitch does well. Thor hit or miss. I miss Brian Shaw's old content. Yeah, Hatton and Paddy are absolutely like killing it with strongman content. Mitch is like, you either love it or you hate it type of content. Like, I watch his live streams. I think they're very good and I think they're great. And don't get me wrong, like Martins was doing awesome for this prep as well, doing lots of live streams, lots of training. But yeah, a lot of the guys could be more regular with it. And I feel like a lot of guys do worry too much that their videos aren't like super engaging or super well edited. And I think they don't need to be. Like a sit-down talk is more than enough. It takes me, to make like a comp recap video, for example, it takes me an hour. It's not too difficult to get it done. I so miss Alexi's How It Was. Loved his humour. Yeah, Alexi's videos were top tier. Really enjoyed those. Theron Gilwest saying Mitch, Trey, Lucas is the podium, I think. I don't think Martins will stray together for the whole. Still gutted we lost so many in the lineup. Yeah, completely agree. And yeah, that seems like a decent podium. Mitch, Trey, Lucas. I could see that happening very easily for sure. Is my camera lagging for you guys? I can't tell if it's just my view of it that's going really choppy. Because on one screen it's really choppy, on one screen it's not. So hopefully it's coming through all right, because I don't really know how I'm going to fix that if not. Chalk Bowl has been a great watch. Completely agree. Really, yeah, good podcast that. Jesse Hall saying, watched a few vids from Hatton and Loz, watching the guys test kit. Martins is looking good and has that confident look about him. I could see him being 4th at worst. Be awesome for him up to podium. I completely agree. Martins is looking solid. Oh, it's lagging, is it? Damn. What can I do about that? Let me see. Hang on. I will see if I can fix that. You will lose me for a second. Right. Let's see if I can fix this. I'm assuming you can still hear me. You've lost my visual. All right. I'm back. How's that? I'm back on cam, and I think I've sorted it out. How are we? All right, yeah, cool. You guys can still hear me. We'll crack on then. Following Strength 2, lots of good content and interviews popping up on there. Yeah, Following Strength, absolutely top tier content. Like, go and watch those interviews. Support that channel, because if we can keep them around making these interviews throughout comps, the hype is going to be there. Because if they interview the same athletes multiple times before every comp, we get a lot of that content and the good long form content that we don't have a lot of access for these athletes. So let's do it. And they interview a lot of the newcomers as well. So support Following Strength. Make it worth their while to keep doing it. Martins is definitely looking strong. Great to see how well he's put things together after so long away from the sport. Yeah, it's super cool. And like I think Alex said on their video that no one knows how to peak a body like Martins knows how to peak his body. It is absolutely crazy the sort of shape he was able to get himself in such short time. It's crazy. It's really, really like mental how Martins can peak it. Speaking of new faces, how about Andrew Burton? What a delightful guy. Yeah, I followed Andrew on Instagram for a number of years now, and he just seems like a super nice, down-to-earth dude. And you can say that about a lot of the strongmen guys that we follow and that we see coming up. Like, we really can. It's so nice when we get another just nice guy in strongman, because everyone's so nice in strongman, and I wouldn't like to end that by having some absolute knobhead join. So it's always good when people are lovely. Currently at a 405 pound deadlift plateau. What can I do to break through? I weigh 180. So I was at a deadlift plateau for 10 months just before I started with Loz. And what broke me through that plateau was just sticking to like a 12 week proper peaking program. So before that I was just trying to peak myself, listen to my own programming, and clearly not doing a very good job. So I bought just an off the shelf 12-week deadlifting program, did that, broke the plateau, and then I was flying from there. So it might just be a case of programming and being able to stick to one consistently for a long period of time. If not, maybe look into getting a coach or switching coaches, trying a new different approach. But sometimes it is just as simple as programming. Hi Toby, would you be interested in competing at Wiltshire's Strongest Man? Would love to compete against you. I actually did look at those events for potentially competing. So I won't say that I'm not going to do it, but I'm not signed up to do it so far. So I'm going to see how these two comps that I've got coming up go. Because normally I do like Haynes Farm Open and Oxfordshire's Strongest Man, and then my competing itch is sort of scratched for the year then. But if I finish those and feel like, yeah, I want to compete again, I think Wiltshire's is probably next on my list to go and compete at. So I may well be, but I'm not officially signed up to it yet. To be fair, we need some stark characters like an Eddie Hall or a Henry Pollock from rugby. We need it badly now, need to gain mainstream attraction. Yeah, like we are missing that polarising character of an Eddie Hall that made it break, especially here in the UK, break into that mainstream. Like everybody, and I mean everybody in the UK knows who Eddie Hall is. Like they know him as the strongman, they know Eddie Hall, and we need another one of those. But I think like an Eddie Hall is a once in a generation social media strongman, isn't he? Like it's crazy the amount he was able to bring strongman to the forefront of everyone's eyes. Max Crutchley saying afternoon. Good afternoon, mate. I know what broke my deadlift plateau was reassessing my grip. I was still using the hand position from when I was 20 pounds lighter, lol. Yeah, that's another really good one. It might just be a positioning or a technical cue that's holding you back. Bodies change, technique changes. As you get stronger, you get bigger, and therefore you're not lifting the same way you were before. As you get stronger, different muscles get stronger, and therefore you might need to favourite certain other muscles to do it. My deadlift form has definitely changed plenty since I first started, and certainly changes probably every year, so might be another one to do a reassessment of. Have you ever thought about doing a Scotland stone lifting tour? You could do a killer vlog of each stop. I'd absolutely love to do that. It's just about time and money, basically. If I can afford to take the time off work and go and do it, I'd absolutely love to. It's, again, another bucket list thing that I'd love to do. And in the US, that is just not the case with Brian. Those of us that know him think he's great, and most people I speak to have no clue who he is. Yeah, and I think the USA is much harder to break into than the UK because it's much more spread out and much larger. Like the UK, we're very large, but we're very, very close-knit. Like, we're very densely populated, and everywhere's within, like a 4 or 5 hour drive. And similarly, the things we're interested in are much more universal. It's so much easier to get something that everyone's heard of in the UK than I'm sure it is in the US. I feel like the US is very much more regional. The Nature Walk UK was a cool new piece of content I enjoyed. A tad odd but a unique and raw strongman journey. Yeah, that was really cool. Very entertaining. I enjoyed that as well. Actually tried a grip comp a couple weekends ago. That made me super psyched for the farm comp. I really want to do a grip comp. Like, my grip is weird where, like, my general grip is kind of, like, not crap, but it's decent. But my ability to hold on to something for a long period of time is really good. So, like, a Hercules hold, a behind the back hold, a dead hang, like, I'm insane at holding on to something heavy for a decent amount of time. Like, my behind the back hold PR is 220 kilos for 16 to 17 seconds, which, if any of you know grip, that's like a really decent mark and beats a lot of the top strongmen at that event. But that's like the one grip thing that I'm really good at. It's really weird. Even in the US, Eddie Hall and Thor are household names. Ironically, I think Thor because of Game of Thrones then helped Eddie's popularity. Yeah, agreed. I think, again, if more of the guys crack into that mainstream acting role, it'd be one to watch for sure. Like, that's the way we grow. Do you do any blob training? I've not. I think I've tried one blob at Paddy's, but I don't have any blobs, so I don't really train it. I do a bit of pinch grip here and there, but no blob training. What was the first strongman comp you remember thoroughly watching? Mine was 2017 World's Strongest Man. Ooh, this is a good one because I definitely watched a lot of strongman when I was younger. Obviously, when it was on the TV at Christmas, so I've definitely watched through World's Strongest Man competitions in the past. But the first competition I caught live as like a strongman fan, I believe, was 2020 Europe's Strongest Man when they had it at the Castle and Luke Richardson won. That was the first one that I sat down and remember watching properly. I remember Gav Bilton doing that. I remember Luke Richardson and Adam Bishop, obviously. I think they were 1 and 2. I remember seeing Lungu and Jack and that there. I think Europe's Strongest Man 2020 was the first, like, I was a proper strongman fan and watched that. And then World's Strongest Man 2020 as well was the first Worlds that I was, like, properly invested in. I watched bits and pieces of 2019 when Martins won through Juji Mufu, actually. I was watching some of his fitness content. He did some collabs with Martins. I think he did a video where he went to World's Strongest Man. But that was before I was, like, a proper strongman fan. So I think it was those COVID strongman comps in 2020 was the first ones that I got really, like, invested in and was really, like, a part of, I think. The US doesn't hold niche sports in the same public esteem as the UK from my experience. It's not even that we hold, like, it's weird with strongman in the UK because, like, everyone's heard of it and a lot of people have watched it in the background and now with social media know of Eddie Hall and actually Para Dwyer, rest in peace. A lot of people I know my age know Pa from social media and didn't even know he was a strongman. So, like, the social media aspect of it is what's growing it massively. Like, Eddie Hall is going mega viral on social media at the minute, even more so than he was before, but particularly on Instagram. Loads of reels I see my friends sending around to each other of Eddie. But even back like when he pulled 500 kilo in 2016, that was when I first heard of Eddie Hall, and that was like I was 15, long before I'd ever thought of joining a gym. I'd heard of Eddie Hall and the 500 kilo deadlift. I didn't start going to the gym till I was 17, and I didn't start lifting properly till I was 18. And yet when I was 15, I'd heard of Eddie Hall and 500 kilo deadlift, and I didn't even know what a deadlift was at that point. So that's how much it spread through the UK. That's how crazy it was. And again, I think that's just because it's so close-knit. 4 Nations Strongest Woman got me really interested in strongman training. After watching that, signed up for my first comp in 2023. Yeah, I mean, I got into strongman not from watching comps, but I'm sure a few of you guys who have been to these streams before has heard this, but I had just started lifting when I was 18 in just a public gym near where I lived in Cardiff at the time, and I was just doing squat, bench, deadlift, overhead. That's all I was doing. I'd done like one session, PR'd every single one. And for those interested on what my numbers were, the first session I PR'd everything. I managed an 80 kilo bench, 100 kilo squat, 140 kilo deadlift, and 60 kilo overhead press, push press, I think, were my first ever numbers when I PR'd something. And when I tried to PR everything. And then I did like 4 weeks of training, like sets of 5 on those lifts, and then the COVID lockdown hit, and I had to move back home, and I was really enjoying training, and I was like, damn, I really don't want to give this up. So at home I had no gym equipment at all, nothing. I live in the middle of nowhere. The closest public gym to me here is a 20-minute drive, and like you couldn't go to that in COVID, obviously it was shut. So all I had access to was genuine like boulders that were just out in the hedge and a log that had been chopped down from a tree that had been fallen, and I was like, these things are heavy, I can probably do something with it. And I googled, can you get strong lifting logs and stones? And as you can imagine, that led me straight to strongman. And I watched Alan Thrall technique videos on log press and Atlas stone lifting. And then I figured out, oh crap, this is a sport. And then I painstakingly with a hammer and chisel carved handles into my random bit of tree that weighed about 30 kilo, I think it was. I was lifting boulders. I was doing front carries with these random boulders I found. Then I ordered a barbell and plates bundle just before all the price hikes happened in COVID. And that's how I really got into strongman. And then through watching those technique videos, I was recommended like Loz's channel, where he was talking about, you know, what kit to get, belts, that sort of thing. Then that's how I started watching Loz way back in his old like 2020 videos, 2019, all of his old videos. And then I like started watching World's Strongest Man, Europe's Strongest Man, started getting into the comps, all the vlogs, started watching Eddie Hall, Brian, those sorts of guys. And then I just started training strongman because it looked fun, and figured out I'm decently alright at it. And then did my first competition about a year and a half later. The first time I ever tried things like farmers walks and proper strongman events with proper strongman kit is just because I was living in Cardiff at the time, and Gav Bilton was a bouncer at the pubs I used to go drink at as a student, and I'd seen Gav compete at Europe's Strongest Man 2020 during the lockdown, and I was like, oh, I know that guy, and then I like had a very drunk conversation with him that I don't remember too much of, so God knows what I said. And then I DM'd him on Instagram like a few days later, being like, any chance I could come try some strongman kit, which is like, it's crazy that like in any other sport that would be weird to DM one of the guys competing at the top level and be like, can you teach me how to do it? But he was like, yeah, sure, come up the gym. And I did, and he taught me how to do it and was like, it's a good starting point. And then I signed up to Cardiff Strongest Man and did that. So it was a weird way to get into strongman. Like 90% of people who get into strongman are either recommended by a friend, or watched it growing up and was like, that's what I want to do. Whereas I sort of got into it by accident, and then through watching World's Strongest Man, started remembering that in my early childhood, I was watching World's Strongest Man on telly and was like, oh, no, I do recognise this. And weirdly enough, I recognise Mark Felix because he's been doing it forever and things like that. Really appreciate what you're doing, Toby, top bloke. Thank you, mate. I really appreciate it. And I really appreciate you guys, because without you guys like watching and supporting, then there would be no channel. Like, I have literally run this channel from almost the day I started Strongman. I started Strongman in the summer of 2020, and I started making videos on my training in the winter of 2020. So give or take 6 months, you guys have seen it all. So I appreciate that you guys are all still about. As a child, I remember watching the first 2 World's Strongest Man on TV when Bruce Wilhelm beat Lou Ferrigno and Franco Columbu, amongst others. That would have been really, really cool to see the first one go out. I can imagine it being quite a big thing, like the first ever one. Lots of promo and stuff. Bring me my flail. Seeing a guy the size of Gav out in the wild would be something else. Honestly, like, some of the pubs I used to drink at in Cardiff would get a bit rowdy. If Gav was on the door, they wouldn't. Like, it's crazy that he's just... And he still is a bouncer in Cardiff. He still works the doors. I was there a couple weekends ago to watch the rugby. I was watching the Wales-Scotland game. And I was wearing a Giants Live top. And one of Gav's training partners was like, nice coat, mate. Did you know Gav's working the doors a couple pubs down? So I went to see if I could see him, but I was late for the thing, so I couldn't go say hello, unfortunately. But, you know, he's still out and about. If you go out in Cardiff, you might come across him. Who is the bottom 3? In my opinion, that's harder to predict than the top 3 at this time. I think the bottom 3 is very similar to the top 3 in a sense that I think Mitch is going to come first, barring some disaster. And unfortunately, I do think Andrew's going to come last, barring some disaster from someone else. I think, like, first and last, in my opinion, are the easiest places to predict. But I agree with you, like, 2nd through 8th is ridiculously hard to predict. It's so hard. Is it weird that I am more intrigued on who gets 4th on the deadlift than I am who wins? Mitch, Trey, Austin are going to get top 3, but the battle for 4th is going to be fun with Bryce, Lucas, Martins. Yeah, I think that whole like upper mid pack on deadlift is going to be super, super crazy to predict. Like, that deadlift's going to be competitive, I think. Gav is legitimately one of the nicest guys. Yeah, Gav, like, genuinely, holding my hands up, is the reason why I do Strongman. Like, a man that big, and I'm talking like this is 210 kilo Gav Bilton that I went and met. Like, a guy that big and that, like, intimidating looking. And at the time, I weighed 80 kilo, so I was small. I was like, I'm 125 right now. If you can imagine me shrunk down to 80, like, that's it was intimidating. And it was like, I went up to his gym, he was the only person there. He had opened the gym specifically for me to come in, and I walked in and I was like, okay. And then he was just the most lovely bloke ever. Like, he had, like, hands down the most lovely bloke ever. He had just come back from World's Strongest Man, talking all like good fun about the other guys, you know, giving some insider info. One of the top 10 guys out there for sure. Like, so nice, so willing to help. Really, really nice. Jonas saying, I feel like Mitch has actually hurt the strongman as far as interest, and no fault of his, but I think he's actually been so dominant that has made the sport a bit less interesting. I want some variety. I agree and disagree, because you talk about dominance and growing the sport, but I think, like, you look at people like Mariusz Pudzianowski, and that's a name everyone knows. Again, here in the UK maybe, but Marius is a name everyone knows. Like, and Mitchell Hooper is going to be a name that people know going forward in the sport. It's going to take another couple of years for him to be as well, you know, well known in households like some people, but I do believe Mitch is going to be up there. And speaking of, like, nice guys in the sport, I don't think Mitch gets enough credit for how good he is with fans and people. Like, obviously he has his issues, and I think he's a bit like, you know, like the analogy Marmite. You either really like him or you really don't like him. But Mitch is someone else who has like shown me nothing but like absolute kindness in this sport. It's very interesting to see how like viciously some people hate him in this sport, even though he's doing loads to grow the sport, loads to make the sport a better place. So it's an interesting thing to see how people hate him so much. Where are we? Yeah, Bronshop saying, I don't think it's Mitch. Z and Puds dominated longer. I agree. And I think, like, again, I don't think domination's a bad thing. I think it makes everyone else step up. And we saw that last year. Like, Mitch slipped a bit last year. And people took advantage of that and beat him at comps. So, that's all it takes. Gav is one of the nicest guys. So are Hicks, Bishop and Haynes. Yeah, Adam Bishop's, again, lovely, as is Terry Hollands. In fact, I met those guys in Cardiff as well, and it was a completely random scenario that I met Bish and Terry. I was going on a hike, which is, you know, something I do a lot, and I was just walking to the train station, and they had just got off a train, and my friend who I was with, who like kind of follows Strongman but not really, went, bloody hell, those are some big guys. I wonder if they're strongmen. I look over and I'm like, oh yeah, that's Bish and Terry, and I went and chatted to them for a bit and got a photo. And of course, like you guys know, I'm super good friends with Paddy, and again, Paddy is one of the guys who is doing some of the most to grow the sport in at least the local area around here. He's putting on competitions all through the year, actively trying to build his brand, build his business, and build his YouTube, not just to support himself, but to spread the message of Strongman and improve people's lives with it. He's super generous with his time. Super generous with his equipment. Like, he opens his home, his literal like house, to host a competition with like almost like hundreds of people every year. Like, he invites them to his garden to do it. Like, it's crazy. Like, no one else is doing that. No one's having people around their house to compete. It's crazy. Bronshop saying, it's the guys doing hardly anything to grow the sport. Mitch, Paddy, Hat and Card do it all. And I think, like, yeah, I agree with you. And there are other guys doing their bit as well. Don't get me wrong. Like, a lot of the guys are doing their bit, but I think it's difficult because, like, it's not just the guys that aren't doing their bit, but like the promoters aren't doing their bit either. Like, Worlds is an absolute shit show. It just is. Like, I will say it how it is with Worlds, as you all know. Like, they've done a couple videos this year. They did a video talking about the events, and they've done a video interview with Reno. But apart from that, no one can buy tickets. We didn't know where it was going to happen. We don't even know the full lineup yet. They've reduced the lineup, and we won't even get to watch it. And that's supposed to be the top of the sport. Like, in my opinion, for this sport to grow, Worlds needs to get its act together, and then everyone else will follow, in my opinion. I think once Worlds starts casting the net wide and scooping the most fans in from a casual perspective, then it's on the guys to keep those guys who have been pulled in by the Worlds promotion, keep them in Strongman. And I think the guys are doing a good job at keeping people in Strongman because, hey, we are all hardcore fans and we all watch everything they post. But as someone who's not in the sport, you're not going to go on YouTube and watch a Bryce Johnson training video. Like, you might, but YouTube's not recommending it because Strongman doesn't have a pull at the minute, because the absolute top level of the sport is a poorly handled shit show. It just is. Like, they were getting better, then they took a big backward step, and now it, like, people, it's almost a joke, isn't it? How badly handled World's Strongest Man is. And like, I don't care if anyone from Worlds is like ends up watching this clip and being like offended by it. Just get and it's no one's fault from like the strongman side of the World's handling. It is purely the TV companies, IMG. Too many cooks are spoiling the broth with Worlds, and too many people who don't care about strongman are involved, in my opinion. And until we're able to cast that net wider and bring those casuals in, I don't think the guys can grow the sport, because the guys just, like, they can't. They don't have that reach. It's so unbelievably hard to pull in a wide reach of casual fans on YouTube or something, just as a one-man band. Like, obviously Mitch is doing it, but then you have to do all of the casual social media type algorithm baiting videos, and then everyone who's already in Strongman doesn't want to watch him and doesn't like you for making that content. So it's a really hard 50-50, and I think, like, again, like, Lucas is making some of the best content for Strongman, but even, like, he's not able to break outside of Strongman because there's nothing pulling anyone into Strongman and making people want to stay. So, like, we either have a couple guys doing loads of the algorithm baiting videos, getting the casual fans in, doing a Larry Wheels style, Sam Sulek style, where you just get millions and millions of casuals in who don't care about Strongman, and then they don't stay because the shows aren't interesting. And, like, all the casuals that get bought in by those big social media presences, the first thing they all ask on the Reddit is, can I watch World's Strongest Man? And when we have to go, no, that's them done. They're out of Strongman. That's it. You can't watch it. What's the point? So I think the top of the sport needs to get their act together for the guys to be able to grow the sport in the way that they can. Because I think people are trying. I just don't think it's landing because YouTube's not going to push it unless it's algorithm bait. Unless you're like World's Strongest Man and have that name. It's hard. It's a really tough thing to do. And I think where the guys could be better is building hype within the casual sphere of Strongman, like using the Arnold Strongman Classic name, the World's Strongest Man name, around those competitions, as Bronchop was saying earlier, and putting out vlogs and people, because then people searching for World's Strongest Man, Arnold Strongman Classic, Rogue Invitational, will see loads of Strongman videos from the guys, watch them, and then they might stay for their personality. So that is the one thing where I think the guys are slacking. But I think in general, for sport growth, it needs to be the promoters casting the net and drawing people in, and then the guys making them stay, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but that's what I think. World's Strongest Man in the UK would be massive. It absolutely would. Like, World's Strongest Man comes to the UK, I'm paying whatever it is to go watch it. I will be there, I'll be making content on it. The fact that it's been stuck in America, I can't justify that cost. But if it was in the UK, I could drive there, no problem. I wouldn't even have to get a hotel. World's Strongest Man thinks of themselves as the equivalent to the Masters in golf. Lol, you're not that guy, pal. But that's the problem, is they are that guy, pal. They are the top level of the sport. They are the thing that everyone wants to watch. And they just toss that opportunity away and do nothing with it. Like, they put it on telly at Christmas. They could be so much bigger if they made it live. But again, the people don't care. Like, they make their money from the TV. They don't need to take that risk, do they? So they don't. Honestly, unfortunately, there are whiffs of the blight of the underground metal music scene going on, where the promoters aren't doing any promotion and placing the responsibility on the talent. And that's a really good point. Like, people can say all they want that the athletes should grow the sport, and in my opinion, they're doing a great job. But at the end of the day, the athletes need to compete in the sport. The promoters need to do the promoting. They need to make these opportunities for the athletes to showcase themselves. They need to do following strength-esque interviews leading up to competitions. They need to do promotional packets. They need to do social media properly. They need to announce things. Like, Giants Live are fantastic, but even they fall short when it comes to announcing things on social media. Like, they have their podcast, that's great. But for instance, Wide Pavlo pulling out, they didn't even say he pulled out. They just put Ben Glasscock as the replacement and didn't say who pulled out. Like, it's just that clear communication. And Jonas said, honestly, channels like you and Loz and Liz are the biggest promoters. And even like us, like Loz and Liz are the biggest strongman channel in terms of hardcore strongman promotion. And even they find it difficult to push outside of the strongman sphere. They have a few videos that have done that, like the 100 Greatest Holy Shit Moments videos and things like that. But the general recurring strongman content, it's still hard to get YouTube to push that and pull people in, even from just the wider fitness industry. You know, strongman's so stuck and so niche that it's not being pushed out. And I think, like, if the promoters were doing properly good social media promotion, using the assets that they have, like the big names, like Eddie Hall. Like, you've got, like, World's Strongest Man have Eddie Hall on some form of contract because he's involved, at least with Channel 5 anyway. Use that social media presence to promote World's Strongest Man. Give the athletes something to post. The idea that I love was giving the athletes a promo code to sell tickets or sell Livestream tails, and then it incentivizes the athletes to get a bit of kickback from promoting their stuff. You know, and like plenty of other companies do promo codes, links. You don't even have to take any money off the ticket sale. Like, look at my MirrorFit link, for example. They've given me a link, and it has absolutely, like, no benefit for someone clicking it. It doesn't give you money off or anything like that. All it does is say that my promotion is what took you to the MirrorFit page, and I get a bit of kickback from that. So MirrorFit aren't necessarily making a loss because they're still gaining 100% of the purchase. They're just giving me a little bit of a kickback to say thank you for doing that promotion. And if Strongman in general followed that model with the athletes, not just through like equipment sponsors and Cerberus codes and that, but for like pay-per-view stuff or official Strongman membership, even if official Strongman said that you can sign up using an athlete's link, I bet we'd see so many more people sign up if it's supporting their favourite athlete. And it would make the athletes want to promote it, because at the end of the day, you're not going to promote something unless it benefits you, really, are you? That's why all the athletes promote their own merch, their own channels. But, like, yeah, that's that. And it's fair enough. But it's unfair to put the onus purely on the athletes and not the promoters, because promoters is in the name of promoter. They should promote it. And some do a really good job, for sure, but some do slack. I should say that some athletes, there's plenty of quality content from the guys and the girls at the moment. Yeah, there are, like, for hardcore strongman fans, there is lots of content to watch, and it's very enjoyable. There used to be more, but there's still a very good amount. But it's hard to draw new people in with that content unless you're already in the sport of strongman. If it wasn't for YouTube, I'm not sure strongman would exist anymore. Completely agree. Like, and if it wasn't for, like, Loz and Liz for being able to make an income on YouTube, it wouldn't exist. Because if YouTube didn't pay anything, many people would have given up, because it's time consuming, it's difficult, and not to mention you endure abuse. Like, people comment negative things. You could say the most plain, mundane opinion on anything fitness related on YouTube. I mean, to be honest, probably anything related on YouTube. You can say something. You could say the sky is blue, and someone would call you some form of slur and say the sky is red. You know, like, it's demoralizing, and you have to have a certain resilience to those sorts of things for people to criticize your every move online. And if it didn't pay, people wouldn't do it, and then the sport would die. So we've got to thank YouTube that this is actually a viable thing we can do. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to do it. I only watched World's Strongest Man once it got posted on their YouTube. My cable package doesn't get CBS Sports. And that's the thing, yeah, again, like, World's Strongest Man have been getting better at posting it on their YouTube, but did they ever say it was getting posted? I just saw it appear in my sub box. Like, they did absolutely no promotion that it was going to be on their YouTube. And do correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I didn't see that they said it got posted anywhere. So unless you're actively tuned into their YouTube and subscribed to it, which you might not even know exists, you would have missed that. Same with the Rob and Terry video or the Reno interview. It just sort of appeared with no hype. So the sky isn't always blue. Have you heard of clouds? Yeah, exactly what I mean. Like, I had someone yell at me for stupid ego lifting for a dumbbell training video. They're my favourite. Without fail, whenever I post a push press, someone goes, "That's not a shoulder press, you use your legs." Like, I know, I titled it a push press. What is the threshold to get paid on YouTube? Do you need 10k subscribers at least, or is there a minimum for total number of views for videos? So with YouTube, in order to get monetized, there are two ways you can go about it. So if you post YouTube Shorts, which are the short form content like Instagram Reels, TikTok, you need 10 million views on YouTube Shorts, which I know is crazy. That's a lot. Or the other way is if you make long form content like videos, live streams, that sort of thing, you need to have a minimum of 1,000 subscribers plus 4,000 total watch hours in the last 12 months. So that's the really hard one. Getting to 1,000 subscribers is a slog because YouTube doesn't like to promote channels that don't make them money. So once you hit that 1K, it's easier to grow. But that 4,000 watch hours is very, very difficult to hit because it requires a good number of people watching your videos for a good number of time as well. So that was the thing that took me the longest. And it took me 5 years to get monetized on YouTube. It's only this last year I've been monetized because that 4,000 watch hours was holding me back massively. So the threshold is fairly low, but YouTube doesn't like to promote you until you hit that threshold because then you can earn the money. So it's a very interesting thing to do. So I can see why a lot of the guys who do YouTube, like athletes I'm talking about now, they'll get 1,000 subscribers, they'll think, great, I'm getting monetized soon. And then it's the watch hours thing, and you have to be patient, and it can take months, even years, to try and get there. Bronshot, what I'll never understand is why fans care so much about what athletes do in their personal time. Here to watch Strongman, not what Mitchell Luke is doing behind closed doors. I think it's just natural for human curiosity and the rise of like the reality show. People want to stick their nose in as many people's business and give their opinion as possible, and especially with the online community, everyone likes to think that they're perfect and sit on their high horse and say, I'd never do that, even though they've made plenty of other mistakes in their life. I just keep my nose out and keep my nose clean and try and keep as much of my personal life off the internet as possible as well, and just stick to Strongman. The most they do is post an Instagram story with a link. And yeah, exactly, and that stays up for 24 hours, and you have to be a World's Strongest Man follower to see that story come up. Like, if they at least posted a post, the post could go viral beyond the World's Strongest Man followers. It makes no sense. Do you guys like the Natalie prank videos? I've watched a couple. I think they're a bit old now. I think he's rinsed it quite a bit. But fair play, get your bag. Do you think the Enhanced Games will host a Strongman show in the future? That depends if there is a future of the Enhanced Games or if it's a one and done type of deal. I think it's more likely it's a one and done type of deal, but we'll see. Strict press and push press, so hard to tell a difference. I'd have expected more negative comments of the small plates so you don't hit the ceiling. Yeah, that too. The small plates, using 25 kilo plates instead of 20 kilo plates. Whenever I post squats, people go, that's not 200 kilo, that's 170. And I'm like, I'm using 25 kilo plates, like, use your eyes. Stuff like that. That's like the idiots who cry about arched benching or kipping. That's not a pull-up. Muppets, as always, sadly they always have a place in their voice, their dumb opinions. And hey, I don't mind them voicing their dumb opinions because the more comments I get, the more my video is going to get pushed and the more money I earn off of it, even though it's about 10p off a YouTube short. It's funny that I get music videos / channels sometimes in my recommended that literally have less than 10 views or subscribers. It is crazy. Like, I get some channels pop up that literally have about 100 views or something like that, and I'm like, how the hell have you made the algorithm? How does shorts count? YouTube current meta is to push shorts. Shorts are a bit crap, to be honest. They don't earn any money, like, at all. On my lifetime, I post a short every single day on YouTube pretty much, and they all get 4,000 to 5,000 views, something like that. They all do fairly well, and all of them earn maybe 10 pence. To put in perspective, if I posted a long form 10-minute video of me talking about Worlds and it got 4,000 views, that would earn me about 25 quid. So they really just don't earn a lot of money at all. With shorts, you have to be getting millions of views to see really anything back from them. But they are a great way to reach a wider audience and reach more people because you can then get you get 2,000 more people with their eyes on your video, and they do grow subscribers quite well, but obviously don't really count towards watch time or anything. I got into strongman a few years ago by watching a lot of the old guys, World's Strongest Mans on YouTube. Basically watched all the World's Strongest Mans starting with Marius to the President, and then started watching current stuff. I think World's Strongest Man could do much by just having a person run their YouTube and social media properly, and I completely agree. Like, just someone competent with social media would go a long way. I have 2.6k subscribers but not enough watch time. I need to get on that same activity level as Toby. And that's the thing, is like, I've been posting almost weekly for 5 years, and I only hit the threshold last year. Like, you don't only have to be making videos, but you have to be making videos regularly that are long enough and engaging enough that people get on. Like, it's really hard work to keep like consistent with it to be able to do that. How's training going, Toby? My training's been weird at the minute. It's been really up and down. I've had some incredible highs, some really good sessions. Last weekend I hit a 400 kilo yoke for 10 meters and it felt comfortable. Like, some really impressive sessions I've done for my training standards. And then I've had just some absolute crap sessions that have been zero energy, really bad, and I've not really had anywhere in the middle. It's always either been insanely good or not so great. So interested to see how my comp goes next weekend, but training's been very up or down for me at the minute, and I'm looking forward to sort of getting back to a more, like, not a comp prep level of training, just a consistent level of training that's always there or thereabouts pretty good. Alex, personally, my favourite strongman content is the stuff digging into the history and the nerdy side of the sport. Yeah, I love that stuff. All of the like fun fact videos and stuff that Liz puts together are really interesting to me, and like looking at stats and things like that. I absolutely love it. Right, we have been on about 1 hour and 10 minutes. I'll go a little bit longer, but I also want to go have some food and stuff before the Strong Woman kicks off. So if anyone has any questions, anything they want to say in the chat, get it out the way. And I'll use this time where I'm waffling to plug a few of my things. So if you aren't subscribed already, make sure that you go and subscribe to the channel, like the video, check out all the other content on the channel. And if you want to go above and beyond, this is why I edit my videos, because I trip over my own words so much. But check out the members only section on the channel. So I sometimes get a lot of stick for having a members only section, but I'm like, I've got one, why the hell shouldn't I? And over there at the minute I post a short, like 2 to 4 minute video of every training session I do with a couple words and the lifts, and it's just a little insight into my training. So if you are interested in what I'm doing, what my training looks like, and a bit of an insight into like what Loz programs me and stuff, that all lives on the members only section, because it would absolutely spam up the main channel and ruin my algorithm if I did post it on the main. So make sure you go check that out. James Oliver's saying, what event are you looking most forward to? For the Arnolds, I think for me, either the Tombstone or the Sandbag is my opinion. And also it goes without saying that if you do have a membership, you should have like a members comment that comes up in the chat, which is cool. I always love using my one on Loz's to force him to answer my questions. Have you seen Rogue's documentary, Stoneland, Full Sturker, Commissioner of Power? Yeah, they've been really cool. Rogue has done a few really cool stuff for this sport, and like obviously they're one of the biggest backers money-wise as well, so shout out Rogue. Having watched the rules/familiarity, do you feel anything changed in your thoughts, like the stone drag or carrying to drag? I think my podium's changed. Originally I had Mitch Lucas Austin, and I think it's going to be Mitch Lucas Martins now. I really do. Watching him in the familiarization, he just had that air of confidence about him. But we'll see. Is it far-fetched to say that Bryce Johnson could be top 3? I feel like he's one of the new guys that could be at the top for a long time, and a person finally come to challenge Mitch. I don't think it's far-fetched. I think he's in with a shout, but I don't think these are the events for him to do it. I think his dumbbell suffers a fair bit. I think he'll be alright at the rest of the events, so I think his dumbbell is what's going to hinder him. But as I said, everyone's got a bogey event, so it's just the way it'll go. Is Andrea carrying an injury? Loz was adamant on the channel that Lucy was winning the deadlift. I have absolutely no idea. I hope not. I hope she's in full form. But I do think Lucy will win the deadlift, and it'll be 1 and 2 Lucy Andrea. Who is on your strongman Mount Rushmore? I think this is actually quite an easy question, because I think it's Z, Brian as the 2, and then the next 2 are people who've grown the sport. I think Thor's on there. I think he just has to be. Like, I think Thor is, like, if you had to put a face to strongman, it's Thor. 6'8", 200 kilo, just Icelandic. He is the strongman, so I think he has to be on there for sure. And then the fourth one comes down to what you value most out of strongman. It's like, do you care most about pushing the sport? Because if so, you could say Eddie Hall deserves that spot. Do you care most about achievement at World's Strongest Man? Then it's Marius. Do you think that Mitch, his run so far, has been good enough to place him on that Mount Rushmore? It's really hard to pick. Is it one of the older guys like a Kaz, a Jeff Capes, a John Paul? Like, if we were to say a Mount Rushmore of British influence of strongman, both Eddie and Jeff Capes are on there, as well as Tom Stoltman. Like, it's a completely different list. But Mount Rushmore for strongman overall, it's Brian and Z without a doubt. In my opinion, Thor without a doubt. And I am going to give that full spot to... It's hard. I think Mitch goes in there just purely on... Like, he is one of the freakiest strongmen we've ever seen. Like, and I can completely see the argument as to why Mitch isn't on there yet. But I believe he will be over the next few years. For sure. I think people will be able to say. So, like, that fourth one's really open. I could see Marius. I could see Mitch. Someone said fourth, Tom Stoltman. In my opinion, not quite there. Like, World's Strongest Man-wise, yes. British Strongman, yes. He's podiumed at every major. But to get on that Mount Rushmore, he needs to have won every major. Like, Mitch has won every major and won most of them multiple times. So he beats out Tom in that one. Like, Tom, yes, has won 3 World's Strongest Mans. Fantastic. Great strongman. But I think Mitch has him beat when it comes to a Mount Rushmore type of thing. Jane here with the I'm a member to show my appreciation for your content. Your lives at Worlds were great. Thank you very, very much. And there will be more lives at this year's Worlds for sure. I'm going to make sure of that. In fact, I'm going to try and do a live like this before every single competition. Absolutely. Like, I'm loving these lives. We have got another one joining the members. Matt's joining the member. Thank you very much, mate. Where are we? Bronshop saying, everyone's saying Tom was World's Strongest Man is something I don't see right now. Tom hates the squat, doesn't do well on walking stones. He will have put in big work to start the finals with good points. I just don't think you can count out Tom at Worlds. You just really can't. Like, every time we say I don't think it's Tom's year to do well at Worlds, he comes top 2. So I do agree Mitch is the favourite. And based on how we see him at the Arnolds, I think he'll be the favourite. But I still think, you can't count Tom out at Worlds when he's in shape and focusing on Worlds as well. Does anyone know what Alexi is doing these days? Hopefully recovering and getting himself better. I hope. But I don't know. What are the times for events today, dude? I believe the Strong Woman is kicking off at 4. Strongman is kicking off at 5:30. This is all British time. But I don't know what time the later events are starting. I haven't looked. Mitch is at least top 5. Yeah, I think he's up there. Tom is nowhere near 4th, isn't top 7 yet, has a low win rate and doesn't win non-World's Strongest Man majors. Yeah, it depends what you value for your Mount Rushmore. Like, Tom has done loads to grow the sport here in the UK, like massive amounts. And obviously he's got a great track record at World's Strongest Man. But yeah, he does have a lower win rate in the other comps. The only reason not to put Mitch on is longevity. I agree, but I think Mitch will have at least decent amounts of longevity in the next few years. Obviously, we can't see into the future, but we will see. Adam saying there was a period of like 10 years where all but a handful of World's Strongest Man podium spots went to Shaw Big Z and Thor. Those three all would have won like 6 World's Strongest Man if the other two weren't around. Completely agree. I think those three are an absolute lock for the Mount Rushmore. Like, in my opinion, absolutely. No Bruce Wilhelm. Not for Mount Rushmore, no. I don't think he was in the sport long enough. Or, like, he won the first one. And obviously he's a name that we know in the sport, but he doesn't have that same impact as like a Big Z or a Brian. It'll be interesting to see how Reno comes in. Yeah, I know, I'm absolutely gutted for Reno and his food poisoning. I would have loved to see him at this competition. I hope he's back for it at Worlds. Collect Nation, my Mount Rushmore is a tad different. David Webster, Terry Todd, Colin Bryce, Brian Shaw. Yeah, fair play. The promoters, I feel like it should be less about who's best of the sport, but who's most influential. These four have grown the sport more than anyone, in my opinion. Yeah, completely agree. If you're doing it based on that, that is a solid lineup. In my opinion, Mount Rushmore is about strongman archives, takes out the bias. Again, another fantastic way to do it, just purely competition results. Tom was lucky to win World's Strongest Man that year. Mitch injured his hand, as Mitch clearly would have won that year. Yeah, but that's a would have, could have, should have. Like, it's sport. Shit happens. People get injured. We could say that about nearly every competition where people have got injured and things like, oh, they could have done this, they should have done this. But at the end of the day, it didn't happen. So we'll see this year where we've got the same frame that tore Mitch's hands up back in, I believe. So it'll be interesting to see if it happens again. Tom's interesting because he only seems to be able to win World's Strongest Man and Britain's Strongest Man, but he's podiumed at literally everything. And I think that's just because those are the titles he really cares about, and I don't think he puts the same gravitas in the other titles, and it shows in his performance. I think he can say a lot of the time that he goes, I really want to win the Arnolds, but I don't think he actually believes it. I think for him, it's Britain's Strongest Man and World's Strongest Man. They're his things, and fair play. Like, I only do 2 comps a year, so I'm not one to talk. Mount Rushmore needs a few more slots, lol. Yeah, that's what makes it so difficult. It's weird that both are true. Tom's career outside World's Strongest Man has been a disappointment. If it weren't for Herkhold, he'd have 5 World's Strongest Man wins. Yeah, it's a tough one. Yeah, that's interesting. 2018, Thor is peak strongman. I think just Thor in general is peak strongman. Like, him when he pulled 5'10" this year, last year rather, ridiculous, crazy. Grimdork Future, I'm claiming Martins as a European for this comp. Need to grab any form of patriotism I can. I think we should have him. Yeah, we'll take Martins. Why not? Fun piece of trivia. Jan Todd is the first and I believe only woman to do an event at World's Strongest Man. She demonstrated the squat at 78. That is a really cool piece of trivia. Nice. Bronchopped, interesting that Luke Richardson said no one has a chance to beat Mitch at the Arnolds. Yeah, I think like everyone has a chance because I don't think anything is certain, but I think it's very tough to call. Like, when I've spoken to Loz recently, I've never seen him this confident in Mitch, and we know how confident Loz is in Mitch. Like, Mitch is in crazy shape apparently, so we will see how that goes, but we could be in for a mogging. We could, but also it could be really close. Like, Lucas's trainings look great. Martin's trainings has looked great. It's a really interesting, dichotomy there. I'm so excited. Like, it's not long now until it starts, and I am so excited. I hope I will catch you all in the Reddit threads and where else. Even though the Reddit's a bit dead at the minute, at least it was for Britons. Yeah, the Reddits have died off a bit. But, you know, it's a good place to collect still. Luke was looking massive in that last video with Mitch. Yeah, I think Luke is going to win Europe's. I really do. And if he can hold it together, I think he is going to do very well at Worlds. Like, Luke Richardson has got some good events at this World's Strongest Man. If he can hold together, it'll be dangerous. In my opinion, the events are too odd to call a definite. I agree. I completely agree. A lot can happen. The true Mount Rushmore, TOBY. Let's see, does that stand for Tom, Alexi, Bish, and who's a Y? Come on, help me out. Who's a Y? Oh, I can't think. I can't think. There will be someone obvious that you'll point out. Yeah, referring to the dead Reddits. Yeah, lots of stuff has happened with the Reddits. It's an interesting one. I think the Strongman HQ split confused some people and we lost a handful of fans from the thread. Yeah, I think it's been a good positive move though. Being able to post images in the threads, it seems a lot more lawless, which I think is a good thing. But I do think Strongman HQ has a tendency to be horrendously anti-Mitch. Like, Mitch could breathe and someone would post a thing saying, "Can you believe what Mitch did today on YouTube?" And it'd get 25 upvotes, and anyone even being like, "What are you talking about?" will get 30 downvotes, which I find is very interesting. But in general, it's a good play. Like, it's a good change that we've got a place where we can post images, post links, be a bit more unmoderated, which is good. Bronchop saying, "I hope Giants Lives make Europe's 2-day show. It's now a training day for World's Strongest Man. Luke R wins it easily, in my opinion." Yeah, and from what I've heard, it's like the lighter set of stones as well, which I didn't think would ever come back. Europe's, I'm telling you now, they need to swap. Like, if they don't make it a 2-day show, obviously we'd love to see it a 2-day show. They just need to swap the World Open and Europe's in the calendar. Do the World Open as like a World's Strongest Man training day, lighter events, a few new guys. Europe's Strongest Man has the Deadlift World Championships, because then we might get Thor back at Europe's Strongest Man. Imagine that. That'd be cool. And then we can have a lot of the guys who want to pull big deadlifts at Europe's Strongest Man. Obviously guest lifters as well for the likes of the Trey Mitchells, the Mitch Hoopers. And then the rest of the comp being really nice, cool, heavy. It'd be really nice. Like, in my opinion, it's a no-brainer to switch those two in the calendar. But, you know, what do I know? Tom seems to be on form. Luke Richardson looks massive and strong. Mitch is Mitch. Singleton was really good last year and hopefully gets back on form. Yeah, I completely agree. I think World's Strongest Man could be really exciting this year if everyone shows up in shape. LOL, Europe's using the lighter stones. Ha ha ha, heavy CrossFit. And that's harsh. It's still strongman. But they just don't want to kill the guys off like a week before Worlds. I think Worlds has really fucked them over this year, as they do most years. Strongman HQ gets really negative really fast, which is very off-putting for me. Yeah, I just ignore that bit of it. Like, if I see a thread descending into people arguing, I just ignore it. But for the comps and stuff, it's pretty decent to go chat with people. Lighter set of stones is ridiculous. Those should have been retired. It's backwards thinking. Far higher likelihood of injury on someone's speed. I agree with you. I don't agree with the lighter set. I think it's more dangerous than the heavier set, in my opinion. Yeah, completely agree. I also think Europe should look at the SCL athletes as well, have a bigger pool of guys. I agree. I think Europe's, like, the perfect Europe's Strongest Man, in my opinion, is a 2-day show of 6 to 8 events with a 16-man lineup. It should still be Giants Live, and it shouldn't be like Smo level heavy or anything like that. But just a bigger lineup, a bigger competition, make it more special. Then we'd be able to fit in, because this is the problem with Europe's at the minute, is it's so Brit heavy. But that's just because the level of the Brits is really good at the minute. And that's not me being biased, but genuinely in Europe, the top half of the field are mostly Brits. And then you've got the other guys from across Europe. And the problem is when you have a 10-man field, it's so easy to fill like 6 to 8 of those slots up with Brits, then have like 2 Europes in there. It needs to be 16 to 20 guys, in my opinion. I wish Giants would take a page from the SCL and allow franchise stages that will still qualify, but that still qualify for World's Strongest Man, set a minimum standard, let others put it together, offer a streaming platform, etc. Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, I think the only reason other things don't directly qualify for Worlds is just contracts. Like, Giants Live are sold to Channel 5 as the World's Strongest Man qualifying tour. So maybe there's something in the contract saying only the shows that they pay for can be qualifiers. Who knows? Lots of stuff goes on behind the scenes. Strongman HQ is only ever a few comments away from a complete degeneration of Mitch flaming. I know, it's like literally all it takes is one guy to say something and get downvoted 25 times, and then it's just like an argument going on. It's usually the same bloke as well, bless him. Excited to watch the pro-am as well. Yeah, me too. Where are the live streams for the Pro-Am? I've not been able to find them. Is it on Strongman Corp or something? If anyone has knowledge of where the Pro-Am live streams are, let me know. It's also a simple business decision. Brits sell seats. There are many super strong Europeans that don't get invites they deserve. Yeah, completely agree. Like, Giants is in the UK. You want to get behind the British guys. Of course, they're going to prioritise the Brits. It's what sells. But I agree. Europeans aren't getting the chances. To be clear, I wish there was some overall governing body so that these scheduling issues weren't so aggressive. I agree, but also, like, at the end of the day, I think it does come down to a little bit of common sense. Like, I know World's schedules like at random, but for the last couple of years, it's been pretty solid that it's been like April, May time. So, Giants, perhaps they've got contracts going on and that's why, but they could have moved their show. Now, that's not saying they should have to, but we know the general area these comps are going to be in now. Strongman Corp for the prelims. Cool. I will make sure I try and find that. Still looking for where the finals are if they're live streaming it. They should do, I hope. They might just not have scheduled it yet. Well, I am probably going to pop off now because this gives me half an hour to get my shit together and go get some food. So thank you all for hanging out with me and chatting about the Arnolds. I will be back online with another live stream tomorrow, a little bit earlier and hopefully for a little bit longer, to talk about everything that went down in today's competition coming up and what we can expect to see for the final couple of events. So thank you all so much for joining me. I've been Toby. Remember to like, share, comment and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you tomorrow where I'm sure we'll have lots to talk about. See you then.